Hi, this is Joyce with the Pilkington Homesteads, and today I'm making shepherd pie. Paige and Stephen love shepherd pie, so I thought I would make that today. And to start with, you take about 5 or 6 potatoes, and you cut them up to about 1-inch squares, and you cook them until they're fork tender, and then you pour the water off, put them back in the pan, put them on the stove for just a second until all the water is out, because you don't want water in your bowl. So then after you do all this is what you have. All your potatoes nice and ready to go. Then you're going to add 1/2 cup of milk, 1 stick of room temperature butter, and I'm going to smash those together just a little to get it started. Not much, just a little. I don't want to work them too much, because if you work mashed potatoes too much, they will be gummy. Now I'm going to put 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese and 1 egg yolk. A pinch of salt, because that Parmesan cheese is pretty salty, so that's going to give your potatoes a lot of salt. And then just black pepper to your taste. I'm going to stir that up. You can make your mashed potatoes the day before if you would like to, and just put them in the refrigerator. They don't have to be done the same day. Or if you have had your dinner and you had a big bunch of mashed potatoes and you had quite a bit left over, then you could save those and use them to make a shepherd's pie. You don't have to make a shepherd's pie quite this large. You can make a smaller one. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my bowl over here, and I'm going to just mix these up for just a minute, and I'll be right back. So my potatoes are mixed up. They're nice and creamy but not gummy, because like I said, if you mix them too long, they will become gummy. These are just about right. And for this recipe that I'm making today, I used about 3 pounds of potatoes. So, 4 or 5 large potatoes, or you can weigh them if you want to, because that's what I did. I weighed my potatoes, so I knew I had that many potatoes. Okay, so this is done, and I'm going to put some wax paper, not wax paper, but some papers of some kind over the top, a lid or something, and keep this for me until I get the rest of the shepherd's pie ready, because this is what you'll do it's your first step and your last step. So I'll be back. Now I'm working on the hamburger and the vegetable part of the shepherd's pie, and I'm going to put my onions in my pan and my garlic, and I'm just going to let them cook for just a minute until they're clear, and then I'll be back. My onions have gotten clear, so I'm going to add about 70 ounces of cut carrots, about this size. It's kind of like we're going to be putting corn in it, and it's roughly maybe a little bigger than a corn, but you kind of want all your vegetables the same size. So I'm going to put my carrots in there, and I'm going to put 1 pound of lean ground beef in. Now I'm going to go ahead and cook this all together, and then I'll be back when it's done. Okay, I had the meat browned and the carrots are partially cooked. So now we're going to add some flavors. I'm going to put a teaspoon Mrs. Dash, and you can use any kind of multiple spice that you need, like allspice or something that you really like. You can use that. This is 1/2 teaspoon of cumin. And this is 2 tablespoons of flour. And 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. So I'm going to mix this all in. And I'm going to take this back to the stove and probably cook it about 1 minute. When that minute is up, I'm going to add 1 cup of frozen peas and 1 can of corn that I have drained. So I'm going to do that and then I'll be back. I forgot to say that you need to put about 2/3 of a cup of broth in it while it's thickening. And as soon as that happens, I'll come back. So I have it on the table now with all the ingredients in it, except for just a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. Then I'm going to stir that in. The reason you use frozen peas is because frozen peas will keep their pretty green color better than the canned ones. The canned peas, you know, they have that faded color of green. And if you use frozen ones, they keep that pretty green flavor. Color. Okay, so we're going to add this to the pan. And I did go ahead and spray this with a non-stick spray. Smooth that out. So now that I have it in my pan and smoothed out, I'm going to take the potatoes that we made earlier and I'm just going to dot it all the way around the shepherd's pie. Because if you do it this way, it makes it easier to smooth together without tearing up the bottom layer. So that's what we're going to do. Just put it in like this, and then you take your spatula and you smooth it. So I'll do that and I'll be back. So now the mashed potatoes is covering the shepherd's pie. And this is you can or you cannot. My family is a cheese family. Man, do we love cheese. You would think that everything we cooked, we put cheese on, and oh yes we do. So cheese goes on this. So we're going to put cheese on top of the potatoes. And like I said, this is something that is not really traditional all the time, but if you're a cheese lover, like we're a cheese lover, you'll put cheese on the potatoes. Okay, and really I did not measure that. It's kind of like, depending on the size, if you're using a deep dish, it won't take as much cheese to cover the top. Mine's not as deep, it's more shallow, so I used a little more cheese than what someone might use in a deep dish. Okay, so this goes in an oven, 400-degree oven for 25 minutes. But I'm going to watch it because it's really done. You just want it to heat through and the cheese melt and for it to bubble up and just meld together. So I'm going to watch it because it may be 20 minutes, not 25. And as soon as it's finished, I'll be back. So here is our finished shepherd pie. And it did take the whole 25 minutes. But you can see how pretty this is. See how beautiful that is? And I'm going to cut into it so that y'all can see what it looks like. And the smell is wonderful. So you can see the potatoes, the vegetables. Doesn't that just look delicious? You can see that see the mashed potatoes that's underneath the cheese and the meat. This makes a wonderful meal. It's an old meal that has been around for a long time, but I think everybody loves shepherd pie. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe and will try it. And subscribe and come back and visit our channel. We really appreciate it. Bye.